All right. Who has a 50-word summary of the trouble you got into last half session?
We came home. Shit,
And everything is a mess.
yeah, everything's a mess. Linda's
We have
gone.
we have a psychotic Kensei monk who lives in our house now.
Oh right, I forgot Destil wasn't here. So yeah, and he captured third party and kept him in a cage for 2 weeks.
Wait, start at the beginning.
Well, unfortunately,
That was literally the beginning.
That was the
That was the
beginning.
beginning of the
That's how it
section.
started, yeah.
Things went downhill from there.
And this isn't the GIF we saved in the
It is.
Yes, it is.
sewers. Wait,
It
now
is.
he's insane? I like that guy.
Well, I mean,
third party
he put a guy in a cage.
Yeah, I said liked past tense.
Also, he's not insane, he's just a little zealous.
And
That's all it is.
He raided your room to make the cage.
Oh god, that cage is definitely not safe for use on animals.
It's all like a high lead It wasn't animals. He put a halfling in there.
and then to keep the psychological torture going, Lucius stalked the poor halfling through the city for a little while afterwards.
Just trying to ask him, like,
I
what's
was
going on?
trying to be helpful. I was trying to be helpful. I was
I'm with
trying
Lucius.
to get him a nice meal, get him something warm in his belly, so he would be able to approach this as normal people would.
I mean, to be fair, it's not like Lucius has PTSD, like counseling training.
That's true.
So, Lucius did his best and probably did better than anybody else would have done.
Lucius's idea of crisis counseling is to give Mephistopheles the finger.
I mean,
That's a counseling that creates a crisis, but I don't think that's exactly what that's supposed to mean.
But in addition to that, Linda hasn't been in the office in 2 weeks. Connor's missing as well. Connor and Gus went to Linda's house. It looks like nobody's there, but we didn't investigate that further because I didn't want to just break in the middle of the night.
Yes, you did. Yes, you absolutely did. We had to talk you down.
You literally tried to kidnap me, and
that was at the end of the night. Like at first, I'm starting at the beginning. Gosh. And then we knocked on Caitlin Chubb's door to Brooke Road's great chagrin, and she wanted to charge like 650 gold to cast a spell to find Linda, and we didn't do that yet. And then Lucius went and saw Journey,
and yeah, everything is just like everything's a lot.
And then we met what's his name's boss.
Oh right, and then we met Gaston and gave him the the Thieves Guild officially has the book.
Yep.
And they gave us custody of Rallick. Well, specifically, they gave Connor custody of Rallick.
So I have a note here written down that says, "You will forget what this note means, but Rallick's boss sucks."
No.
All right.
No, he does kind of suck.
And then Brooke Road deemed to have weather.
Yeah, Brooker was just like, I can't handle this. This is too much for me, and then weathered out.
We were in the middle of our break last week. I came back from the break and somebody commented, like, "Is that thunder I hear?" And I apologized for the thunder, and I was joking about it, and everybody stopped talking. And I'm like, come on, the joke wasn't that bad.
Turns out.
And then the power went out. And I know, I have this information. I actually know the last time I had a session die because of a power outage, because I got my phone to text some people about what was happening, and the previous text message I had sent McDohl was, "Hey, my power just went out."
Yeah,
Like-
the best part was is that I didn't get that until like 3 hours later. I looked at my phone. I was just like, "Wow, he actually texted me."
Yeah, he was texting me on it, and I was like, well, "Why is he?" I was just kind of curious why he was texting. Wasn't texting them too, but
I wasn't looking at my phone, and he never texts me.
But I'll only text you when my power goes out, apparently.
right.
So there is so Alex.
Mhm.
The barge was in a state of not complete disarray, but the Githzerai Numac has kind of had his run of the place for 2 weeks, as far as like imprisoning halflings on your boat.
As you do.
You notice that quite a lot of because your office, it's not completely disheveled, but you can tell people have been in there. You can tell like books have been removed from your shelves and replaced. And what you can't find, like everything of value is still there. Money, treasures, equipment that you keep on the boat. What's missing are several of your most recent financial ledgers. Someone has taken those from your offices. The painting of Corio Fireblood was taken down, but I think that's been put back up. And
Tried to throw it in the ocean and you wouldn't let me.
it would just float there. Birds would poop on it. So the next day is the 18th. The 18th is your typical Fireblood day. This is the day that you're supposed to meet up with Fireblood. So you spent the night kind of running around, not getting really good answers about everything that's going on. And the whole time, Numac is just a feature in the situation. Has kind of a cold detachment. He's never far away unless you order him to be. He stands by with his arms crossed, and he never takes his sword, never sets it down. It's always hanging at his side. And it's black scabbard. He doesn't offer his opinion on things. He does what he's asked to do quickly and efficiently and without complaints. And that is kind of the situation you find yourself in the morning of the 18th. So you're supposed to deliver this book to King Ten Sails. Instead, you gave the book to Orsisnin, who is a high up in Rallick's Thieves Guild, and Rallick is also wearing some very nice bracelets.
Do we have any information about what's been going on in the city other than our personal affairs while we were gone?
A lot of preparations for the Magical Games, which start on the 19th. So there are a lot of temporary construction happening in quite a lot of the like open air places in town. The area around the Stomp Box, and especially Great Tables Park, which is a large open air place where it's designated specifically not to be a marketplace. And commerce, it's not disallowed by law, but it's heavily frowned upon. It's supposed to be a place where people can meet in public and exchange ideas and, do crimes, that kind of stuff. But currently, Great Tables Park is filled with a lot of temporary constructions, a lot of sideshow areas, a lot of temporary stages that are eventually going to be torn down for demonstrations by various magical guilds and schools in the city that don't have the resources or acumen to do their displays in the Palace District or in the Temple District. As well, a very large floating, kind of like pontoon kind of platform has been floated out into the harbor itself. For the duration of the week of Magical Games, West Harbor and High Courts Harbor are off limits to trade and traffic. And that water, that port of the harbor, and the entire ocean front is geared towards the spectacle of the games. To the point where they even have that large pontoon stage out on the water for demonstrations and contacts of an aquatic nature. And that's the sun coming up on the 18th. This is what's going on in town. So far, you have not had a missive from 10 Sails, a summons. But he does know you're back in town because Lucius went to see Journey.
Yep. I think what I shall do is catch up on some personal affairs.
So, just real quick, Alex, like we briefly discussed like what we were gonna tell 10 Cells, and like we kind of settled on something that was more or less true, which was we had made arrangements to buy the book. He backed out, and then things got complicated, and we had to and it was the choice we made was either get it this way or like not at all, and kind of use that as an excuse. Like, I mean,
and don't forget to mention that we will not neglect to mention that Rallick made it difficult for us to obtain this thing.
yes, and we have decided to throw Rallick under the carriage. With his permission. He gave us permission to do that.
So is that on the docket today? We're going to go have a meeting with 10 Sails?
Gus still wants to look for Linda.
Wait, have we told Journey this?
No.
I mean,
No,
Journey's our boss.
she-
Why do we need to talk to 10 Sails?
She was barely awake when I spoke with her last night.
And she kind of mentioned something along the lines of, like, the point of the arrangement was she didn't have to speak to us.
Right, that's what she told Lucius, is that her understanding is that kind of officially and on the books, she is your boss in this new Office of Magical Accoutrements that has been set up by the king. But the king has given her instruction that in actual practice, you all will probably not be reporting to her, and that she's not to interfere with your tasks.
Oh, I apparently missed that at some point. Cool.
Right? Yeah, I
Yeah,
feel like
same.
we were told the opposite, but that's cool.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, Connor is with Gus. He wants to find Linda, and we should really be asking that Gith, like, did the Gith scare Linda away? Like,
he said that she was not here, I recall, when he came. Like,
Okay.
he came, I think he said he scoped the place out one day, and then came back and that she was there. And then he came back the next day, and the barge was empty.
that's
and
right.
And then
Okay,
when he kind of, like, came in like a Gith. I don't know.
All
I don't
right,
know.
so I would like to personally do like an investigation check to try and track Linda down. If there's anything along those lines that Alex can do as a trained detective.
How are you going about it?
Talking to everybody in the Shallows, for starters. Just any contacts I've had working here however long.
We did that,
Okay.
and in an effort of doing that, everyone was complaining about the Gith.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
He's-
we also rolled very poorly. So
Yeah, we also rolled like dog shit. Because that's how we do here.
Fair.
Alex, if you have a very specific idea in mind that would not encompass just a general canvassing, which they've already done, we can explore it. But if you're just looking to do a general canvassing and getting people's statements down, like they've already done that, and they've already botched that. But yeah, Numac is not winning you any popularity contests in the Shallows. He is apparently a pain in the butt to have around.
what? I actually do have an idea, a slight idea. Like somebody that, like, there are several, like, since we have like the Dryad. I don't remember her actual name. It's been so long,
Mhm.
but we have regular business dealings with her, she might know where Linda is, or have seen something about it.
So the interesting thing about that contact is you've never known her to leave her shop.
Right. But
Although-
she might have heard something.
Canonically, I don't think you know why.
Right. No, we don't know
Yeah.
why.
She doesn't have any new information for you, but go ahead and collect any outstanding potions. Let's see.
Oh, and we talked to Caitlin Chubb, and she wants 400 gold, and we decided not to do that.
600.
Was it 600?
Yeah.
It was 400 plus a surcharge for
It
waking her
was
up in the middle of the night.
something
Right.
extremely stupid, and yeah, no, there's no reason to do that.
Something about divination magic.
I think you guys are owed 2 healing potions from the alchemist shop.
That sounds right.
Sounds about right.
And Alex, you're required to participate in Yulari's demonstration for the magical games. They don't really do much in the way of competitions, but they do a lot of natural demonstrations, things with plants and water and things. And you're required to have some part in that. I'll let you decide exactly what that might look like.
Okay.
None of the rest of you are really members of guilds that are going to be out doing a lot of competition, except for Lucius. I will let you determine your own level of involvement in the magical games for the next week.
Okay.
All right, so what's next? What else is happening today?
Are we going to break into Linda's house?
I have duties to perform.
I think it's that time, yes.
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
I don't think they've actually established what kind of home she has.
If I recall correctly, she has a nice manor house in the Shallows.
There are no manor houses in the Shallows.
Like, it's a nice house. I mean, like, you know, like a
Okay. Breaking in, and we can just go through this real quickly because there's not a lot of evidence that she's even been there for the past couple of weeks.
Okay. So
There's no sign of an attack
No
or a
sign of a-
struggle.
Or that she picked up and went and fled, and no hasty packing, nothing like that.
Nothing like that. There's also no sign that anybody except you monsters have broken in.
we'll reimburse her.
I mean, look, I just picked the lock. I mean, there's no need to do any actual damage. And if there was, I was just mending it.
Connor tried to break the door down, and Gus was like, "No, don't do that."
Well, neither one of us know mending, so. I don't know what to do. Like, the only thing I can think of is we pay Caitlin Chubb her fee. But then the question becomes, it's like, what if she's not in the city? I suppose that would be information we didn't have.
That would be, yeah. At least then we know that.
So you guys have been back in town for a little over a full day at this point. And this being Ends Day, the third Ends Day of the month, around this time is typically when third party or someone representing Fireblood would come round to the barge. That has not happened yet this morning. After you've kind of poked around and you went down to the alchemists and you went around back and broke into Linda's house, and you're getting on to the late morning now, and no sign that Fireblood is making contact at all. But he would have heard by now that you guys are back in town.
We were told.
Has anyone tried to track down Corio?
Well, we were told when we came back. No, we haven't. We were told when we came back in the. We did glean that the third party had came just to collect the picture
Paintings.
because we were no longer working for Corio, and that the king had taken care of it. And that's all we knew.
And the picture
And
now
Lucius-
hangs again in your lobby.
Yeah.
So
I suppose we should go find that man.
That man being Corio?
Yeah.
As I recall, your last conversation with him was not very productive.
Yeah, if we track down Corio, are you going to try and kill him?
no, not unless he threatens you.
question.
You're not the
wasn't
person I
directed-
need to know from.
I'm the one that tried to
that
kill him
question
last
was
time.
not directed at you.
Oh, war? I thought it was okay. Yeah.
No, it was me.
That was definitely Gus.
Yeah, okay, no, Gustavus, you're not going to that. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, the only other person that I can think of to track down is we could hit up some of the people we know. What's Percival Penniless doing?
Asking around about Percival Penniless, I mean, he's moved on from his campaign to sit the throne onto how this new king is incredibly corrupt and only serves the interests of noblemen and ancient families and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The same rhetoric, just new bosses in charge.
Right. And that's fine, but no, like specifically Gus is concerned about Linda. Since he can't go see Corio anyway.
Yeah. Maybe we should split the party. Where
Alexander, I'll go
Gus
with you
and-
to see to try
Yeah.
and get an audience with Corio Fireblood to find out what the hell has happened.
So who's going to go see Corio?
I think Rallick's gonna go with. I think Rallick's gonna go see Corio. He's interested to see who this is.
Okay. Is everyone going, or just Rallick and Lucius?
They've got my vote.
So Alex is going?
No, they're fine.
Okay. Rallick and Lucius. Corio had been put up in a... Or he'd been staying in an inn in town, whose name escapes me for the moment. The Chestnut Pie.
It's the same one that... Yeah, the Chestnut Pie. It's the same place that that Journey was staying. Is she still staying here?
No, she has quarters
No,
in
she-
the
no,
Palace
she-
District now.
Yeah. So this would be the first place Lucius would look for Corio Fireblood.
So, immediately you're not told whether or not Fireblood is in attendance. You do confirm that he's still staying in his room there. But you get a much colder reception this morning than historically you have visiting this establishment. Much, much colder just across the board. And you're told in no uncertain terms, first of all, that Fireblood will not be meeting with you. And second of all, this is more implied than explicit, but it's implied that the people who operate and frequent the Chestnut Pie Inn know the state that Third Party found himself in after returning last night. And nobody knows the full story, but people seem aware that you guys were involved somehow.
All right, then I'm gonna vacate, and then I'm going to go to my old friends at the 56 Cards.
Okay. And what course of action is everybody else following at this time? for the rest of the
Well,
morning.
I think Gus and Connor on Linda Hunt.
Good idea. You're not gonna like it.
Okay.
We got to break into the taxman's house.
Excuse me?
Remember, the whole reason Linda is our secretary is her father was murdered by their son, who we got hanged in response. Who do you think would want to nab her when we're out of town for a week?
Why, other than that, what makes you think that? Immediately jump to that? That was just a...
What other enemies does Linda have? Maybe it's not about us for once. I mean, kind of, but...
Yeah.
I mean, nothing
That's
else, nothing that Connor and I have tried has worked. Let's real quick, like, did what's his name have anything to say? About Linda?
Who?
Percival.
I mean, I guess one interesting aspect of his rhetoric is he's... when is the next... Because as soon as Ten Sails vacates the office, the next king will be selected from the Court of Lords. And Penniless is arguing that he's eligible for that as well. He's just a very silly man who makes very silly arguments.
Right.
I actually had, at some point early in the campaign, I had some notes for like what would happen if the various run-ups for king were going to actually take the office, with the understanding that it was almost certainly going to be 10 Sails. But I didn't bother writing down any what-if notes for Penniless. Not serious ones, anyway. But not only does he not know anything about Linda, he seems disinterested, because it's not... this whole thing about Linda, about how you guys have an employee who has vanished, it's not about him, so why should he be interested? There's no profit in it for him.
For that, Gus will say, all right, the next time you're bleeding to death, we'll let you bleed to death, and I'll turn around and leave.
And as you're leaving, I mean, he's conversation with the people that he's sitting around with, which is probably happening in a corner of the Great Tables Park that's kind of been sectioned off from the construction happening, has turned to see, like, even Flumph Inc., once great allies of the city of Dunfoss, have been corrupted by this new king.
Anyway. All right. Let's go do crimes. I feel like that's all we're doing lately.
Okay, I just need to find... I have to pull out some really, really old NPC notes here.
Yeah, sure.
I'm not totally sure I still have these notes for this character. Because the goal here, the thought here is that the family that influences your tax woes that you've worked against and cleared Linda's name and got their son hanged, they're the ones that have taken her.
That's the theory.
Who's moving furniture?
Oh, that was me shifting books around trying to find my old notes.
Gross. I mean, I'm prepared to say you just spend the afternoon looking into that angle and nothing comes of it.
Okay.
I was looking for the notes to see if I could improv something, but the lack of notes probably tells you all I need to know on that account. All you need to know on that account.
Oh, here it is.
All angles point to Chubb.
Ew.
Chubb. It's her real name, Katelyn Chubb.
It's too bad.
Straight out of Tolkien. Chubbs at Bilbo's party.
I always forget. Is it Proudfoots or Proudfeet?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. The answer is literally yes on that one.
All right.
Well, if Alexander...
Katelyn Chubb had quoted you 400 gold to cast the spell. And in the middle of the night, she was going to upcharge you 50% because you woke her up. It was clearly an emergency. When you return there later today, in the early afternoon, she's still not happy to see any of you because this thing that was so important last night that it was an emergency that you had to wake her up, that ended up not being that important after all. You're still coming around asking about it.
It's not that it wasn't important, Miss Chubb. It's that I had to go get the money.
Are you going to pay her?
I mean, is she still upcharging us?
Oh, of course. Yeah, the fee doesn't come down. You've already inconvenienced her. From her point of view, if she doesn't charge you the upcharge at this point, then you've inconvenienced her for free.
Alex?
Yeah, no, I give him the money.
Okay.
All right, paying her 600 pieces of gold.
Connor is...
Are you asking her to cast the spell once, or are you asking her to cast the spell, then actively use it to try to find Linda?
You mean like... I'm not sure what the difference is. Like, you
The
mean
spell
like,
has a range of 1,000 feet, so to get
to go...
good use of the spell, like, you would have to take her out into the streets and likely places to try to at least get close, or within 1,000 feet.
That's, yeah, the second one.
She takes the money. She closes up her shop for the afternoon. She gathers up the material components of the spell, which I don't think this app even tells me what they are. It just says, oh yeah, they do. There's a button for it. A bit of fur from a bloodhound. I guess she has bloodhounds in the back. Her disposition cheers noticeably after you've paid her. And she's selling you these services say the remainder of the afternoon. So the next 4 hours or so.
Hey, Brooke, what happened to all the money Linda had?
Where did she have it?
Could have been in a lockbox somewhere under the deck, below deck.
In the bar. It's still there.
Okay.
All valuables and everything were still
Okay,
there
then we
in the
can pay her.
barge.
If it wasn't there, we might not be able to pay her without going to the bank.
Okay. But yeah, no valuables were taken. The place hasn't been tossed and ransacked. It was ransacked a little bit because Numek had to construct a halfling-sized cage. So where are you going to have Katelyn follow you to in order to try to pinpoint Linda's location? She's never met Linda, as I recall, but you can... You can make her familiar to you, because the rest of you have. You can describe who she is and her physical identity and all that stuff.
Is this scale accurate?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, I think... In fact, I probably should have erased the scale when I made the map. 4 hours on foot, you could probably circumnavigate most of the city, though.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, you guys repeatedly crisscross the city in just a manner of, like, in a morning you can go do chores all the way on the other side of town and get back in time. So 4 hours over the afternoon, you can pretty much cover anywhere in the city. That's what I'm asking is, like, where are you taking her first? Do you have a specific path in mind? Do you have any suspicions that you want to confirm?
Should we start in the shallows, or should we just start immediately and then?
I feel like if she was somewhere in the shallows, we'd have had an easier time finding her.
Right.
Save
Okay.
that for last.
Let's go clockwise, maybe.
What the thing I'm thinking of is maybe swing through High Bluffs down to the get in range of the Palace District and the White Horse District. Maybe.
Okay. And as you're doing that, I mean, a lot of the streets in High Bluffs district, a lot of what's happening there right now are relatively wealthy people, noblemen and merchantmen and whatnot, that have some number of them, not a lot, but some number of them do have a strong tradition in one of Dunfoss's magical colleges. And so you have demonstrations and things that are planned in High Bluffs as well, in a much more competitive sense. Like, a lot of these people are staking a lot of wealth and prestige on how well either they or their particular representative in a particular school is going to perform in the games. So it's a lot of tension in the air, but it's a very positive tension. A lot of good vibes right now. You're about to go into a week of celebration. And as you do circle around the south of High Bluffs, Katelyn informs you that the person you're looking for is in the palace.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
I guess that means we need to meet with 10 cells.
yep.
Do you have any other work for Katelyn?
No. Thank you for your help.
She asks you, because she's the one who sponsored your own membership in the Cobblestone Wizards. She asks you whether you're going to be taking part at some kind of competition over the week, as many Cobblestone Wizards do.
I had thought about it, but with running around looking for Linda, I haven't had a chance to prepare since coming back to the city.
She asks you if you do, if the spirit of competition finds you, whether she should bet for you or against you.
Well, here's the question: what kind of not to her, for you? Like, what kind of competitions are there?
All different kinds. Anything you can imagine your magic doing in a way that can be competitive, there will be those kinds of competitions. Some are going to be more underground than others. For example, in the open air of like High Courts Harbor, you wouldn't have two people squaring off and throwing firebolts at each other. That would be incredibly violent and dangerous. But that kind of thing does go on in back alleys around the city.
I mean, that would be more or less what because Gus's magic is almost entirely combative.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have he can't do a lot of the he can't like locate object. He can't, summon familiars. He hits things and he keeps from getting hit. That's it.
What does that say about Gus?
He's a fighter and he fights things. That's the extent of it. So if there's something like that, Gus would want to compete.
Something gladiatorial, you mean?
Something gladiatorial, and he would tell her, he would say, and he would shrug and say, "I'd bet on me."
Then, kind of half jokingly, she asks if she bets on you and loses, will you cover the bet?
Half jokingly, Gus will say, he goes, "Well, if I lose, we'll discuss it."
That's not how bets work. Connor interjects himself.
She shrugs and she says, well, I'm looking at it from a entrepreneurial point of view. I just so love making money off you lot. And then if there's nothing else you have for her, she's going to take her leave of you for the day.
Yep.
They don't let me talk to people.
I can't stay mad at
to
Katelyn.
talk to her.
Go ahead. No, nobody's the people that
Yeah,
stop you.
no one's
Yeah,
gonna get
yeah,
upset
no
if
one's
you
stopping
piss
you
off
there.
Caitlin's job.
Do you have something you want to say to Caitlin Chubb?
No.
Okay.
So are we going straight to the Palace District? At least to schedule an appointment?
Yes.
Yeah.
There is a mystery afoot.
Arriving at the palace, a great deal of construction, now that it's here in daylight, you can see a great deal of construction is happening in and around the palace and some of the outlying buildings. Ten Sails is not being subtle at all in his disposition towards, as long as he sits the chair, people are going to know he's the one governing. To the point where, like, there are certain architectural choices made in the original construction of the palace, which was done by dwarves millennia ago, that it looks like he's charitably, we'll say, renovating. Others may say destroying a storied history of Dunfoss and stonework. Probably not making him among a lot of friends amongst stonemasons and architects of the city. But yeah, he's having sections of the palace rebuilt.
Huh. Look at that. Well, you know what they say, Alex. Subtext is for cowards.
I mean, look, it might piss off some of the older stonemasons, but a lot of the younger ones are probably good.
I mean, yeah, it's a job creation, right? It's all about that.
Right.
Anyway, Linda and Kana.
When you arrive in the palace, there are many, many people here. A lot for the weekly games coming up, but you also very quickly learn that Ten Sails is holding court today. And so there's a mass of people looking to have their grievances heard. You've also learned that he's been holding court fairly regularly, which is something that the previous king did only sporadically at best. He seems to revel in it. He seems to enjoy the situation. And of course, you guys being Flumph Inc. and working for the king, he's able to fast track you, but he's not willing, at least this morning, or this afternoon rather, he's not willing to have a private audience. Like, he wants to make a show out of having a conversation with his choice detectives. So you're going to, if you choose to meet with him today during daylight, you're going to be in the throne room, whatever state it's in, surrounded by citizens with grievances.
I mean, I don't think Gus cares.
Okay.
Sure.
Well, we are citizens with grievances, so...
He doesn't make you wait long. Less than an hour or so as he goes through. He's adjudicating a farmland dispute. And I'll let everybody give me an insight check individually as you just watch the king work. Very notably, he's on his crown, or he's on his throne in kind of a relaxed posture. He's not holding a scepter or wearing a cloak or even wearing a crown when you arrive. He's dressed like a ship captain would be dressed, except the clothes are extremely fine, and his sigil of a ship with 10 sails adorns not only his clothes but also great tapestries that now hang in the in the throne room. Who cleared a 15 on insight?
Connor did.
Okay.
Gus got a 12. Excuse me.
Connor got a 25.
Connor, fair to say that Connor's not super inclined as far as governance, like how government decisions are made or how justice is served in situations where there's not a clear wrongdoer and a clear victim.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
Okay. So you watch one or two of these cases where the king is calling people forward and they're hearing their grievances, like so-and-so has been hunting deer on my land, or so-and-so has reneged on a business agreement and has shorted me 14 coppers. These are the kind of situations that he's spending his time today hearing. And you would almost think that he's making these decisions just completely randomly. Whatever is his whim for just the moment, to where at one moment he might agree to have one of the claimants have their payment sent in full and the other get nothing, where sometimes he does exactly the opposite and has somebody taken out into the courtyard and placed in stocks for 6 hours for wasting the crown's time with this pettiness. You're thinking you could do a better job if the goal is to actually find justice for these people.
Yeah, okay.
And then he calls Flumph Inc. forward. And he makes a big show of letting the citizens know that Flumph Inc. represent an office called the Office of Magical Accoutrements, which is a complete reversal of the previous king's outlook on magical artifacts. In fact, he uses the opportunity to inform the citizenry that the crown is placing a 50 silver piece bounty on any information brought to them that leads to the recovery of a magical object or device, and that these kind of inquiries should be levied at said office, or indeed to the fine citizens that stand before you of Flumph Inc. Did you guys bring Numac with you?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely not.
Where is Numac then?
Where can any of us be said to be?
Well, this is a question for Lucius, because Lucius is the one that gives Numac his marching orders.
Lucius would bring Numac with him where he is.
So he did come to the
Lucius
palace with
could-
you guys?
And, well, because I wasn't aware that was the situation, because I thought Lucius was out and about trying to smooth things over with the Shallows, trying to get back in our neighbor's good graces.
Apologies. I'm trying to kind of smooth track a lot of this stuff because I want to get to the adventure we're supposed to be playing today that Thunder stole from
Okay.
us.
All right.
So I'm working on the assumption that all of you went to the palace together.
Okay. Then yes, that.
So Numac has come with you?
Yeah.
Okay. The king tells you that during your absence, doing important work for your new roles in the office that he's established, that he's taken it upon himself to take over some outstanding business at the Flumph Inc. barge. He tells you not to worry, that your employees are being treated very well, and in fact, if you would like to partake of the king's hospitality until this evening, you could be brought to them.